The station lights glowed with a soft silver hue as the young girl stepped quietly across the wide hall. Her name was Lena, and she moved with the calm ease of someone who had wandered these corridors since childhood. The station floated near the edge of a quiet star system, serving as a hub for travelers, explorers, scholars, and anyone who needed a peaceful place between long journeys. Her mother worked as a cleaner in the central hall, and though life was simple, Lena found endless wonder in the mix of humans and travelers from distant worlds. Every morning, while her mother dusted the walkways and polished the glass panels, Lena followed behind, humming softly. She loved the sound of her own voice echoing in the large chamber. Over time, she discovered that different corners of the hall carried sound in different ways. Some spots made her hum drift, low and warm. Others bounced it back sharp and bright. She learned this not by intention, but by instinct. The same way someone might learn how a breeze shifts while walking along a cliff. One day, a new object arrived on the station, unloaded by a research team studying ancient human instruments. It was a piano, an elegant one made of dark polished wood and placed carefully near the center of the hall for public viewing. Most travelers simply admired it from a distance. Some had never seen such an instrument before. Others called it outdated. Yet Lena saw it differently. From the moment she first laid eyes on it, she felt something stir inside her. The shape seemed familiar, like something she had dreamed about long before she knew the word piano existed. Her mother warned her not to touch it. It was too valuable, too old, too important. Lena promised she would keep her distance. She meant it too. But promises made by curious children are fragile things when wonder begins to grow inside them. One quiet afternoon, the hall was nearly empty. Only a few researchers stood far in the back, speaking softly about their next shipment. Lena swept the floor slowly, while her mother polished a row of tall glass panels. As she stood near the piano, she noticed something strange. The dust she brushed across the floor seemed to settle in a rhythm, as if drawn by some unseen pulse. She leaned closer. Her heartbeat slowed. It felt as if the piano itself hummed with a quiet energy. Her hand lifted on its own. Her mother was facing the other direction. No one else watched. Lena hesitated, breathing slowly. Then, with the lightest touch she had ever given anything, she tapped one key. A single note stretched through the hall. It was soft at first, gentle as a whisper. Then it deepened, widening like a warm current. The sound drifted toward the far walls and curled around the ceiling. It settled into the beams and washed across the floors. It carried a kind of ancient softness that no machine could copy. Lena pulled her hand back, surprised by the richness of that single note. She stared at the piano as if it had revealed a secret meant only for her. Before she could tap again, footsteps echoed from the distant corridor. Travelers of many forms appeared one by one. Some were human, some not. All looked around the hall with puzzled expressions. "What was that sound?" a tall man asked as he approached. He wore a long coat and carried a sleek case often used by traveling composers. His face showed surprise, but not fear. "I have not heard a tone that pure in years." Another person walked in from the opposite direction, a woman known for performing across several star systems. She stepped forward with quiet urgency. The resonance from that note traveled through the entire docking wing. I felt it in the floor plates. Lena froze. Her mother turned, startled by the sudden group growing around them. For a moment she seemed ready to scold her daughter, but seeing the calm faces of the new arrivals, she stayed silent. The musicians, researchers, and travelers approached the piano with awe. The tall man examined the keys. "Who played that?" he asked gently. Lena felt her cheeks warm. She raised her hand halfway. "I only tapped one key," she said, barely above a whisper. The musicians exchanged looks that carried both surprise and recognition. One of them whispered. The harmonic pattern felt directed. It had intention. Lena shook her head. I did not mean anything. I just wanted to hear it. But the musicians did not see it as a simple tap. They sensed something more. Humans across the galaxy had made countless advancements, building ships that crossed star systems and machines that could solve impossible problems. Yet there were still moments when simple human instinct surpassed technology. Moments when natural talent appeared in the least expected places. Moments that reminded the galaxy why humans earned their reputation for surprising ingenuity. The tallest musician knelt beside Lena. What you felt when you touched this instrument may be something rare, he said. May we hear you play again? Lena hesitated. She feared she might disappoint them. What if the magic of that first note was only an accident? She looked at her mother, who gave her a small nod, mixed with worry, but also trust. Lena took a breath and stepped toward the piano. The musicians formed a gentle circle around her, leaving plenty of space so she would not feel crowded. The hall grew silent. She pressed a second key. This one was lower, smooth, warm. Its tone drifted calmly and met the memory of the first note still lingering in the air. The two blended, not in a planned melody, but with a natural harmony that seemed to rise from her fingertips without conscious effort. One musician inhaled sharply. She is not playing notes. She is guiding them. Lena touched another key and another. She did not know chords or scales. She did not know any of the rules musicians studied for years. She simply played what felt right. Each sound rose like a small beam of light. Together they formed patterns that shimmered in the air. Then something unexpected happened. The hall lights flickered, not as a malfunction, but as if responding to the frequencies of her playing. The glass panels vibrated softly. Tiny particles of dust lifted from the floor and swirled gently in spirals. Even the soft hum of the station engines adjusted their tone, syncing subtly with the waves of sound. Lena felt the air shift around her. She sensed the way each note shaped the space, not in a strange or frightening way, but with quiet clarity. She felt as if the piano had opened a doorway inside her mind, revealing shapes and patterns she had never noticed before. One researcher stepped forward. This is not only music, he whispered. This is resonance mapping. Our sensors could not achieve this level of detail on their best day. Another nodded. She is manipulating the architecture of the hall with nothing but sound. But Lena did not think about any of that. She played because the music felt alive. She played because the notes guided her hands gently, like soft threads of light weaving through her mind. The patterns made sense even without formal training. She felt space respond to her, not with fear, not with tension, but with a silent welcome. The crowd listened in stillness. Even those unfamiliar with human music felt the meaning behind every sound. Humans were known across the galaxy for their adaptability, their creativity, their ability to turn the smallest spark into a powerful force. In that moment, Lena embodied all of it. She was a quiet reminder that genius could rise from anywhere, even the daughter of a humble cleaner on a distant station. When Lena finished, she lifted her hands slowly from the keys. The notes faded, leaving a soft, lingering warmth in the air. The hall seemed to pause, holding its breath. Then the musician stepped forward. The tall man spoke first. Lena, what you did is something rare. Not because it was loud or complex, but because it carried intention without structure. You played with pure instinct. That is something machines cannot copy. Another musician added, you connected with this station in a way that shows talent and empathy. Humans can shape worlds not only with science, but with art. Lena looked unsure. But I only played what felt right. And that, said the woman with the calm voice, is the beginning of real music. Her mother stepped beside her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. Lena felt safe again. The musicians were kind. They were excited, not angry. They wanted to understand, not judge. One researcher approached with a small smile. This piano was placed here for study, but it seems it found its true purpose today. The musicians asked if Lena would consider learning more. They offered free lessons whenever they visited the station. They wanted to study the resonance effects of her playing, but more importantly, they wanted to nurture her gift. Lena's mother hesitated, worried that such attention would overwhelm her daughter. But Lena gently squeezed her hand. "I want to learn," she said, so the musicians stayed. For the rest of the day, they worked with Lena, guiding her through simple patterns and showing her how certain combinations of notes carried different feelings. Lena learned quickly. She did not memorize the patterns as others did. Instead, she absorbed them like breath, letting each new discovery shape her understanding of sound. The travelers in the hall continued to gather. Some recorded the session. Others sat nearby, watching with quiet amazement. Even the station staff paused their work to listen. The piano, once a quiet display item, now served as the center of a growing moment that no one had expected. Word of the event spread across the station. More people arrived, wanting to hear the young girl who could make light shifts with a single note. Some were skeptical at first, assuming it was exaggerated. But the moment Lena touched the keys, their doubt faded. Every note she played carried a sense of human potential. A reminder that even in a galaxy filled with advanced civilizations, humans could still surprise others with something as simple as sound. Some listeners said they felt hope rise in their chest. Others felt memories stir. A few claimed the music helped them think more clearly. Even though no violence touched this moment, the power it carried was undeniable. Humans were often known for their persistence, their courage, their innovation. But this moment showed a softer kind of strength, a strength rooted in creativity, in the ability to shape space with emotion, rather than force. By the end of the day, the hall felt transformed. It seemed brighter, though no lights had been adjusted. It seemed calmer, though the crowd had grown. The musicians packed their instruments with thoughtful smiles. The researchers logged new data with excitement. Travelers left with stories they would share across distant worlds. And Lena stood quietly with her mother, feeling grateful and a little overwhelmed. The tall musician approached her once more. "Remember this day," he said gently. "It is only the beginning. What you carry inside you is not only talent but potential. You may shape the future of human music across the stars." Lena looked down at her hands. They were small, a little dusty from helping her mother clean. But today, they had created something that reached far beyond the hall. She looked up and smiled. "I want to keep learning." And with that simple promise, made without fear or doubt, Lena stepped into a future where even a quiet girl from a distant station could inspire worlds with nothing more than her touch. A single note had changed everything. And the galaxy had listened.